Good morning, everybody. My name's Candice. I am a regional precision manager for Case IH. Been with Case IH directly for just over a year now, but came from a dealer previously working with precision technology for several years. So I do have quite a bit of experience with the Case IH brand and with the technology within the brand. So today we're going to go over some AFS Connect, my Case IH information. So for those of you that haven't heard of this product before, it is our digital platform available online and as well in smartphone option as an application. So we're just going to go through some basic stuff. I can talk all day and still barely scratch the surface of what the platform can do. So we're going to condense this down into like a 20-minute just quick over, and then I'll let you guys like pick and choose anything that you want to dive deeper in, and I can show you actually like real-time demos of that option. So today we're going to talk about how everything works in conjunction with new and legacy machines, who owns the data, the mycaseih.com platform, AFS Connect Fleet, Farm, and some API keys, and then we'll actually log into one of my AFS Connect demo accounts that has machines working in field right now, so we can get an idea of what we can see real time for machines. So the first slide that we have here is how it works. So we'll start with the new equipment. Anything 2019 for Magnums, 2021 Staggers, AFS Connect Pumas that were just launched this year, the 250 series combines, 50 series Patriot sprayers, WD5 windrowers. They all have connectivity from the factory, which will include a PCM antenna, and subscriptions in cab for file transfer. The platform itself is completely free, so even if you do not have a brand new tractor, you still have the capabilities of taking a USB stick out of your machine to import data to the platform to manage everything in one spot. Anything that is a legacy piece of equipment, so anything that has a Pro 700 in it, we consider as a legacy product now. We have the option to put an aftermarket PCM in those for connectivity, so we can get basic machine data and agronomic data out of those displays and into the account as a non-factory fit option. So one of the big questions that a lot of people ask, especially in the data collection world and time that we're in, is who owns the data? As Case IH, the customer owns the data. You guys are 100% in charge of what you do with your information and who you give access to. We'll pick on the green guys for a minute, just because they are completely opposite of what we are as a company. They own your data, so if you do have a John Deere connected machine and have your machine in their online platform, any information that is brought into the clouds from that machine, John Deere owns, and they can do with it as they please. So they're very open with data collection. We have to be legally, so in all of the documentation it states that you are in control of that. And an example of what kind of information you can share with dealers is an example on the screen right now. So we have 3 different dealers located here with 3 different scenarios. So the top option right now is toggled on. So we can see red for both product information and AFS Connect. That means that your tractor, your combine, whatever it is that's in your account, can be seen by this dealership. The second option, we have Stratford here. They can only see the basic product information such as machine hours, fuel, def levels, engine speed, basic machine metrics. And this bottom dealer here, everything is toggled off, so they can't see anything. You are given the option for each machine to dictate who sees what with each one. So if you have a Magnum that you bought from one dealer, you want to give that dealer access to that, but you buy parts at a different dealer, you can give the first dealer access, but you can turn off the access to the second one, so only one dealer can see each machine, however you want to work those details out. But at the end of the day, it's something that you can decide, and you can change that at any time in the platform. The next portion is the main talking point, which is going to be the mycaseih.com website, which is a starting point to get to AFS Connect. So you just go to mycaseih.com and you can create a free account if you don't already have one. You just go in, hit create account, put your email in, your password, your basic farm information, and then you'll get an email that's auto-generated where you'll have to go in and click activate your account. Once your account's activated, you'll have access to logging into the platform, as well as using that same login information to log into the app on your phone. We also have access to operator manuals, service manuals, knowledge articles. So we have what we call the knowledge base, which is basically Case IH, their version of a Google, essentially, where you can look up, we'll say, a 2150 planter. It'll give you row unit adjustments. It'll show you the unfold and fold procedures on a Pro 700, Pro 1200. You can see different diagrams of how parts go together. There are infinite numbers of YouTube videos there, and each video will take you to the Case IH North America YouTube page, where you can browse through everything that we have available, whether it be digital platform or actual in-machine. Everything is located on the knowledge base. We also have the frequently asked questions section, so that gives us a lot of the finer details that you might have commonly asked questions about. We have the My CNHI parts store. So if you've ever been at a dealership standing at the parts counter where they turn their screen towards you and they're pointing at parts on the screen, we have access to that as an end user or customer. You can go into the parts catalog. You can look your machine up by serial number. If you have your machine in your account, you can just toggle right to that specific machine without actually going out and getting the serial number. Or you can look up make, model, year to pull parts as well. All parts can be shipped to the dealership or ordered and picked up from the dealership, or they can be shipped to your house. So if you are sitting down south over the winter time and your kids are at home, you know, doing oil changes and stuff on the machines and they need some parts, you can order that and have it shipped right to the house so they don't actually have to leave. So that is kind of handy to have. We've seen a lot more use with that for the dealers or the customers that are a little bit more remote. A good example is Northern Ontario, where we don't have a Case IH dealer. We can still order from one of the local dealers and have those parts shipped up to them just via UPS, FedEx, Purolator, whatever you choose at checkout for parts, and you'll get that within whatever time frame that you want. You can do next day, priority, just regular stock. We have also got our AFS Connect fleet platform, which is where we're going to see all of our basic machine data. So we have the metrics such as the fuel, def, engine hours, speed, the basic operator information that you typically see for the tractor or the combine in cab. We can set up different parameters for alerts. So an example that I tried on a new combine when the 250 series came out was I added a notification where I would get a text message or an email when someone went over 100% engine power on a combine. Not thinking about it, you know, one of the combines went out on demo and it was at max power, and come to find out the next day that they plugged it. So you can get some notifications on little things like that. If your kid is maybe running the tractor down the road and you tell them not to go over a certain speed, you can set that parameter in there so you get notified when they're going too fast. You can set geofences as well. It's not going to offset maybe a stolen machine, but if you set a geofence for, we'll say, in this specific building and your tractor leaves the building, you get a notification right away saying that it's outside of your boundary that you set for that machine. So different things that we can do to hopefully stop theft if you actually set everything up. So another good example is if you have a machine that maybe is in a field that's not really close to where you live or are normally working, you can set that up so if that machine does leave the field, then you know. An example on the screen here on the right-hand side is the last 7 days that the machine has been in work. Anything in orange on the screen means that it was sitting idle. Anything in green on the screen shows that it was actually in work. So this one has excessive orange because it is a demo machine, and a lot of them are sitting idle for the purposes of just showing people how to use the display in cab. But in an actual real operation situation, it's going to be mainly green. You can see in blue on some of them when they're roading and traveling, so you can kind of pick and choose what the time frame on all of those are. We also have what we call remote display view capabilities from this account. So you as a customer can log into your own Pro 1200 display and see what the operator is seeing on the screen. I've had some guys call me in previous job roles and say, hey, I can't remember how to do this. Can you walk me through it? And they're trying to explain to me what screen they're on. And in that situation, it's quicker for me just to log into that display to see what they are seeing. And then I can double tap on the screen to bring up a pointer finger in the tractor cab. And then they can easily just tap the screen. So we don't have to try and direct them and tell them to go back and try and figure out where they actually are in the display. Yeah. Blindfold is a good example. You take the blindfold off by doing that. The dealership has access to what we call remote service tool through their computers as well, so they can clear fault codes and further diagnose the machine over the air as well. So if you do have a def fault code that comes up that needs to be cleared before you can keep operating the machine, the dealer can log in remotely, clear that code so you can continue on your way without having a dealer actually come to the field with a technician. We also have our AFS Connect farm platform where we hold all of the more agronomic information that you record. So we can have our yield maps, which the example on the screen is a yield map from a combine. We also have application data. So if you either take a USB stick from your sprayer or use a telematic option to move data to the clouds, we can see that information in the platform. We can layer everything on top of each other. So if you do have, we'll say, one layer that the yield in this one corner is not too great and you want to put a soil map to see what kind of soil is in that corner, you can kind of lay them on top of each other to see what the differences of the field conditions actually are. We can go in here and we can search by grower farm field, crop year, and field, like right down to the actual specific individual location. And you can see all of your years. So if you want to pick, we'll say home farm, and we want to see all of the harvest maps for the last 5 years that you've recorded, you can see all that data in one spot. So you can pick and choose these maps. You can turn them into a report where you can see what the total acres were. You can see what your yield, your bushels per acre were for that field. And if you think the yield is completely off because you forgot to calibrate the combine before you started, you can take your weigh tickets from the local elevator, you can plug them in to your harvest tracking portion, and then you can post calibrate, which means it's taking the actual harvest values and then recalibrating the data in these maps to bring it to an accurate level, which is a really nice feature that we have now. We also have a bunch of APIs, which are basically partnered companies that we're working with to transfer data from their platform into our platform. So we own Raven as Case IH. So the Raven API is one of the main ones that we have in this platform, which partners up with the Raven Slingshot, which is in a lot of the Patriot sprayers and aftermarket setups. We also have mixed fleet integrations with John Deere and Kloss. These are going to be machine data integrations only. So you will only be able to see your basic vehicle information, fuel def hours, etc. Deere is very proprietary with a lot of their information. So we have this for now. Hopefully at some point we'll have the data flowing freely back and forth. But for now we can bring that machine data over so you can at least see machine information from one platform instead of having to log into both. We also have a bunch of other agronomic APIs available. Not all of them are listed here, but there's a good chunk of the popular ones that are. So if you do have an agronomist that is making soil maps or has soil maps, making prescription maps for you, and you want to bring those into your account so you have them stored here so you can review what you're going to be doing next spring, or if you want to create your own and send that information out to the agronomist, we can do that with these API keys. So we can have that added data from the agronomist world in the one platform. Since we're not an agronomy company, we don't ever intend on partaking in that as of right now. So these are kind of to alleviate the need for additional logins. The last slide that I have today is about the mobile app. So on the screen we do have a QR code, so if you do have an iPhone, you can scan that guy. If you have an Android phone and you just go into your app store, you can bring up the Case IH or AFS Connect Farm app, and that'll bring up this application. I have it on my phone if anybody wants to see it. I've got some data in there as well with machines. You can see all your, pretty much everything that you can see on the platform, you can see in a digital version on your cell phone. So if you are shuttling around fuel, just going to top up your maybe your hired guys, you got 4 or 5 of them in the field, and you can see which one's at the lowest fuel to get to him first versus the other guys that maybe have more for fuel. So that's available. You just use the same login information that you use to create your account to log into this one, and then anything that's in that platform will transfer to the app. So that is a very brief overview of the platform. I know it's a lot of information and we didn't really touch on a lot, but is there any specific questions about anything or anything I didn't cover that you guys want to know more about? No? Okay. Yeah.
Regarding when you correct your forgotten calibrate,
Yep.
you put the correct number in your tickets.
Mm-hmm.
Does it automatically recalibrate the
There's no, not the combine. No, you still, you should still calibrate the combine every year. My common practice when I was a precision farming specialist actually in the field would be to calibrate per crop as well. And actually do the advanced calibrations instead of just the quick calibrations to make sure it's the most accurate. So taking 3-way tickets and then taking the average of them to actually calibrate it. But making sure that your yield monitor is working is the biggest one. That's probably one of the questions that I got the most was, why is it not working? So I'm going to X out of this and I will log into my my farm account. So there is a bunch of different information in here that we can see. Let's see. Just going to go and select some different farms. So I just selected, this is my demo account again for an example. We can see a bunch of different green squares here. Those are all bounded acres. So any data that is imported from a combine, from a planter monitor, automatically will go to these boundaries. So for 2021, we can see anything in blue was planted in soybeans, anything in yellow was planted in corn, and then we've got one lone green square down on the bottom left-hand corner. That means that we forgot to input the proper information at the start of the year. So it kind of just shows you that if you actually take the time to plug the information in properly to the display before you start, you get a lot more out of it at the end of the year when you are reviewing everything. We can see different yields. Hopefully it doesn't kick me out. Been logged in for a little while without doing anything on it. But normally we can click on a field and then on this side of the screen, oh, there we go. We'll get some different layers. So if we come over here and we zoom in on that field, we can kind of see our yield maps there. We also have the option to make a PDF report as well. So here's an example of our dry yield where we can see that we had that planted in soybeans. We harvested that September 28th of 2021. Field size was 100.8 acres, area was 93.6 acres, and this one averaged 56.5 bushels per acre. Gives us a little map legend at the bottom as well to see what parts of the field did what. You can adjust your legends however you want them. So if you only want to see like maybe 3 different areas in the field with different colors, you can do a high to a medium to a low instead of having such small increments in between, giving us more colors. A lot of guys use those report features for billing customers for custom work. But again, you have to make sure the info that you enter into the display is accurate before you start. We also have the option to see all of our equipment. So because this is a demo account, we have probably 50 different machines in here. Some of the ones that we're really looking at right now that are nice to see, like all of these machines that you can see in this grouping are all at the Farm Progress Show. So this one that I just clicked on right now, we can zoom into it, and it's in the middle of this field, and we can see that's the new 715 Steiger that's running. So we've got several of them down there, so we can see that it's in the field working. They're doing a ride and drive, so they're just driving around in circles, but we can see that that guy is just going back and forth. He's got 40% fuel, he's got 22% DEF, he's driving at 4.5 mile an hour right now in the field. So we can kind of get some real-time views of what's going on. So it's pretty cool to see. I was actually really surprised to see these Steigers in this account already, since it is a marketing account, but everything is there and we can see what they're doing in the field.